So folks are finishing up in the fellowship hall and hopefully making their way into this room. I want to very briefly welcome you before turning things over to our HICO team, who are going to introduce this year's grant recipients. This is the third cycle of this grant. Every time we do it, I think we get better and better at deepening our relationships and better at discerning who we are and how we want to serve and partner in our community. So grateful for all of you in this room, grateful to our recipients, who I hope I can call our partners, for allowing us to partner with you in this work. And on that, I am going to turn it over to Celia to introduce our first team.
Well, I am pleased to introduce Leah Oppenheimer, who is the director of the Children's Museum of the East End. And she has been in that position since 2010. And she has directed and developed a lot of programs for children, including those with special needs, as well as for parents, caregivers, and early childhood professionals. She has worked tirelessly to ensure equal access to museum programs. She has increased the museum's outreach to underserved populations, resulting in Latina and Latino families making up 1/3 of museum visitors. And she herself personally developed the literacy tutoring program funded by UUCSF as a direct response to community needs. So welcome, Leah.
Our literacy program at CME, it's actually the heart of all our programs at CME, because that's what I started doing back in 2010 when actually I bargained free classes in music to get a little rental from CME, because I had this notion that we could change families' reading habits. Reading habits, yes. And this summer, we had 25 families. It was a literacy program largely funded by the Hagedorn Family Foundation, also friends of the Long Island Community Fund. And we were very successful. I think most nights there were 60 kids in our center, mothers, tutors, teenage tutors that we gave a stipend to, and then all of these kids, like hundreds of kids it felt like. 50% of our mothers are single mothers, so the chance, as one of them told me, to come out on a summer night when they're working 3, 4, 7 jobs, Monday through Sunday, was a huge thing, to come on Monday nights, talk to their friends, have their kids be happy, et cetera, et cetera. So somewhere midsummer, I looked at Laura, who's sitting right there, wave your hand, my director, and I said, we can't stop doing this program. We have to keep it going. How can we get people so engaged and just drop them? So of course we didn't, because that's what CME does. We keep the ball moving down the court for the families and kids that we're involved with. And this fall, we opened a new sub-program in the tutoring program by request of the mothers. And this is where you guys have your impact. At the Children's Museum, we train mothers to ask for what they need. And then we say yes. Because so often, bureaucrats and policy wonks and well-meaning social service agencies think that they know what clients need, but they don't. And if you're ready to hear, they're ready to listen, they're ready to talk. So they asked for their own book club. I mean, I've worked for 12 years, The mothers came to me in a little committee, and they said, we're so ashamed that we tell our kids they have to read all the time, but we don't read. And we know it's going to be hard for us. And the subtext of that is, which didn't have to be said because I know my family so well, is that most of them have 5th grade, 6th grade educations. It will be hard for them to read even in Spanish, but they were going to make a commitment to do that. So we chose a really sexy book that's pretty short, found a private donor to buy them, and I had 24 mothers at the first meeting of our book club. For me, that's a dream come true. For the mothers, it's really hard work. For the kids, it's inspirational. I mean, what else is there? So we are really grateful because your money meant that I could use that private donor's money for the books, but the money you gave us for the fall, and it is covering the fall semester, paid for the tutorial honorarium. I have all Latino tutors now who come every week and work hard with their kids and make time in their busy, you know what teenagers are like, make time in their busy teenage lives, whatever that is, to get training. And then the moms get their books and they get to read too. Plus they get dinner. Your money pays for a once-a-week dinner. It pays for books. It pays for honorarium. And it pays, what it can't pay for is the joy in the room. Last week, we're starting to bond. We're in week 3, and the rooms were shimmering with connectedness. There's no other way to put it. I mean, if I am a very religious person, so if I was allowed, I'd put what I really thought, and we're in church, so I can. God was with us, and it's so awesome. So really, thank you very much, and we'll keep on moving that ball down the court for families, children, teachers. Thank you.
Hello, I'm pleased to introduce Kathy Demorado. She is the Executive Director of the Center for Advocacy, Support, and Transformation, better known as CAST. The mission of CAST is to provide a safety net and promote self-sufficiency for North Fork and Shelter Island residents in need. Kathy is an attorney with over 15 years of nonprofit management experience, working in nonprofit organizations, and is passionate about helping underserved individuals and families. In the past 5 years, under Kathy's leadership, CAST has expanded programs and services to meet the growing need of the community, including expanding services to Shelter Island, and has increased the staff and budget 5-fold while leading a successful campaign to purchase a permanent home in the heart of Southold Town. Kathy was honored by the Suffolk Times as the 2019 Community Leader of the Year. She sees firsthand how she and her team can make a real difference in the lives of so many who live and work in our community. Kathy is also an avid cyclist, helps to train service dogs for veterans and children with disabilities. Congratulations and welcome, Kathy Demorado.
Thank you, Ken. It's just my great pleasure to be here. We're so grateful for this high-impact community outreach grant. You know, Coretta Scott King said, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." And this church community, I had the honor to be part of the service earlier today, is just a special community, and clearly using your gifts to be compassionate and care about the community. So thank you for bringing us into your family and sharing with us as part of this grant cycle. We really appreciate it. So a quick history about CAST. It was founded in 1965 by some community and faith-based leaders in response to President Johnson's war on poverty. It started in a garage in Greenport and has moved to different spaces in Greenport for many, many years. We finally were able to buy a permanent home and moved in November 1st this past year in the heart of Southold Town, which is really just was transformational for us, and it's become a huge community center for the community. So we really, I know it's an outdated term, but we're a one-stop shop for underserved and vulnerable populations. We have a food pantry, we have a sharing room with clothing and household items, and our food pantry is special because in this new space, we're able to have a client choice pantry, so we can, it's like a marketplace. People come in, they get a shopping cart, they shop the aisles and choose based on their preferences and their dietary restrictions, and it's a more dignified way of serving people. We have a farm to friend program, so we partner with 22 local farms and constantly have fresh produce in our pantry for people coming in who need our services. We do benefit application assistance, emergency assistance for heat, electric, rent, things that impact health and safety. We also have a wide range of education and workforce training programs. So we have an early childhood program for at-risk kids who don't have access to preschool. We do school-age tutoring. We do the culinary program, which is what you guys funded, which I'll talk more specifically about. So we have a culinary program for high school kids not going to college. We do an adult culinary program, which is new also. We also do ESL, computer citizenship classes. We do other seasonal programs, holiday toy drive, school supply drive. We just had a big community health fair that we do once a year. So we really try to meet the various needs in the community. We are serving now, I just checked because I have to speak at the town on Tuesday, 904 households, about 2,300 individuals. And just to show our growth, pre-COVID, we averaged about 40,000 meals a year, and this year we will be at 320,000 meals that we're providing to families. So the need is tremendous. And what we try to do is really a holistic approach. When families come in, we have social workers, they do an intake and case management. We really stabilize the families, make sure, they have food, they have clothing, they have heat, they have housing. Are they eligible for benefits? Let's apply. Do they need emergency assistance? Do you have a preschooler? Let's put them in the preschool program. Do you have a high school kid that's not going to college? Let's get them in the culinary program. Do you want to take computer classes, ESL? Are you eligible for citizenship? And then we provide all these wraparound services. So our goal is not only to provide that safety net, but move families forward, more economically secure, but improve overall family well-being. I'd say 80% of our clients are people of color. The bulk of that, 65% are Spanish-speaking families. And, I'm just really proud of my team. We now have, when I started in 2017, I had 3 staff. We now have 21 paid staff, and 5 of those are former clients. So that's just a really cool statistic I like to share. So you guys helped fund our culinary program, which is just like my favorite program of all, not only because I get to eat the great food that they make, but because we're working with the community. We go to the schools and we say, connect us with your students in high school, juniors and seniors who don't plan to go to college, and see if they're a good fit for this program. It's very competitive. We work with Greenport, Mattituck, and Southold high schools. And an interesting statistic, which I like to share because I was overwhelmed when I looked it up, but according to the State Department of Education, 75% of the students at Greenport High School are economically disadvantaged. In Southold, it's 38%, and Mattituck, it's 30%, and Shelter Island, it's 40%. So those numbers were higher than I had guessed them to be. So we work with the schools. We do an orientation. We tell the kids about the program. Kids who are interested can apply. We do interviews, and then we choose the students to be part of it. And the great part is, we have paid staff, but we also have 12 local chefs who volunteer their time to teach the course. So it's the best chefs in our community. I don't know if you know Stefan Bogardas, who was at the Halyard, and North Fork Table and Inn sends their chef, and Noah comes and helps. So we have really the top chefs on the North Fork participating in this program, taking a week to teach the classes. It starts, well, we start now, recruiting the students and planning the curriculum, getting the commitments from the chefs. The actual class time starts in January and goes through end of March, early April. And then all the students have to do an internship in a local restaurant or vineyard or hotel. And I'm happy to say that last year we had 25 graduates of both the youth and the adult program, and they all were given jobs in local restaurants. So that really enabled them to go in at a higher rate of pay as opposed to going in as a dishwasher or a busser. So we teach front of house skills, back of house skills. They learn food safety, knife skills, food preparation. We also, do how to write a resume. We do mock job interviews. We have employers come in and do this with the students. We, do a class on professionalism, like how to interact with people in the workplace, what to wear, everything from A to Z on being a good employee. So we really, do the soft skills, the hard skills. We also offer and we pay for all the students to take the Suffolk County Food Manager's course and the exam, and we pay for that. We do it right in our building. We have somebody come, and everybody who's taken the course, which is 90% of the students over 3 years, has passed. And so that makes them more marketable, because in Suffolk County, in a restaurant, somebody on staff at all times has to have that certificate. So not only are students coming out with a culinary certificate from our program, they have the food manager safety certificate, which is something that the restaurants need their employees to have. So it's just such a wonderful program. As you know, out here, the hospitality industry is in need of workers. So not only are we giving people better jobs, we're helping the local economy as well. And it's a great partnership with the schools and the businesses and our organization. And just a quick story, a success story from last year. We had a single mom, Latina, with 3 kids, and she needed help she was working 3 jobs, needed help with a bill. So we had provided her emergency assistance, and she started sharing that her son was on the autism spectrum, had just gotten graduated from high school, and had a job in a local business that did not go well. And it was sort of a high pace. It was not the right fit for him, but it was his first job out of high school, and he was now very fearful and reluctant and wasn't leaving the home, didn't want to go to work. And so she said, "Can you help us?" So we said, "Well, can you get him in here and we'll talk to him and just, share about the culinary program." And it took several conversations with him on the phone, and he did come in and talk with us and decided he would try the class. So he tried the culinary program, and then his mom said, "Well, maybe I'll do the adult culinary program," which we launched last year. So we said, "Sure." So they both did the culinary program, and they both did an internship at the Blue Duck Bakery in Southold, and now they're both full-time employees there with benefits and a long-term plan. And we were able then also, she said, "I'm concerned, I'm a single mom, what happens when I pass?" So we connected the family with a local attorney who took it on pro bono and created a special needs trust. So, it just shows how we were able to really look at this family in a holistic way and move them forward. And, it's grantors like you who help us do that. And, we've grown significantly in 5 years, but we still rely on mostly individual and small grant donations to do what we do. So it's super important to get the support of groups like you all for the work we do. So we are very appreciative, and I'm glad to be here today. Oh, and we also do a culinary program book. So every year we list all the instructors and the recipes that they did, and we give it out to the students. So somebody said we should make copies and sell them, which we may do as an income-producing endeavor. But if anybody wants to take a look, I'm happy to share.
So it's my pleasure to introduce Kathy Warzon from iTry. So for Kathy, after a rewarding career in the corporate sector, Kathy earned a master's in nonprofit leadership in 2018. Kathy joined iTry in June of 2020 as their Chief Operating Officer. She works alongside the team to empower the next generation of leaders. So Kathy, please.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you to all of you for supporting iTry with an award. So on behalf of our staff and our board, I'm here to send you that message. Thank you very much. A little bit about iTry. iTry was founded in 2010. It's a founder-based organization. It was founded by Teresa Roden out here on the East End. And she launched the program in Springs. And we're on a mission to empower middle school girls, and we empower them through the sport of triathlon. What inspired Teresa to launch iTry was her own experience, as an adult woman reflecting back on her teen years, as she was raising her daughter. She thought, I want her to have a better experience. So, and as demonstrated with research, as girls progress and get on to high school years, they're not as active. They don't raise their hand as much. They have lower self-esteem, and that set the course for the organization. The program is active from February through July. It's after school and on Saturdays. The after school, and the program has pretty much 3 elements. You can almost say it's almost 3 programs, because the after-school sessions are empowerment and fitness, and then Saturday is when the girls they start their training for the triathlon. So we offer swimming, biking, and running lessons. The program is, we service and support about 150 to 200 girls a program a year. We partner with 13 schools, as geographically our footprint is Mastic to Montauk. And the schools are important partners to us because they help us, number one, for buy-in. We want them to be aware of the program. We want them to support the program and share the program with the parents and the families and the community to help us raise awareness. And throughout the program, and I talked about the key elements of it, we do then introduce some nutrition. We do a mentoring day where the girls get to meet professional women, as the saying is, if you see it, you can believe it. And the program is offered free of charge. So with the support of HICO and with the support of our other donors, we're able to offer the professional lessons, the equipment, so the bikes, running shoes, swim gear, and transportation. And as many of you know, offering transportation is critical so that our girls can participate. What HICO helped us, having the HICO award, and what that helped us with in particular, because, as I mentioned, there was a demonstrated need for the program prior to COVID. When COVID happened, there was even a greater need. As we know, the crisis, and as the Surgeon General last year declared a crisis for our young people, our teenagers. So what we set out to do is train our staff on trauma-informed care and coaching. So what we did is we influenced, so we have our program, we have our curriculum, and it's New York-based, and it's STEM certified, but we just infused within the program trauma-informed care and coaching. So that allowed our team to see and be aware of trauma, how to treat trauma, and again, given the need, living in post-COVID or with COVID, it's greatly needed. So the funding that you provided supported that training, and we're very grateful for that. And we are, as a youth-based organization, and a function, we have some funding from the Heisman Foundation, and that comes with a youth-based survey tool, and it's Hello Insight. It's a proprietary software, and our participants take the survey before and after. And this year in particular, we're very proud that 95% of our participants improved in their social emotional learning. And then I was talking to one of the other fellow recipients of an award, of the HICO award, and growth in social emotional learning provides for career readiness, college readiness, self-awareness, and a trajectory to better life outcomes. So your award and what you provided to iTry has allowed us to do that. Our outlook for 2023, we're very excited. We're hoping to expand to West Hampton, and I was remiss, our staff, we have 8 full-time year-round staff positions, and then during the program year, we engage about 6 to 8 coaches that they help us seasonally with the training. We do have, we did some fundraising 2 years ago, and we were able to expand. So one of the headcount, the team members I mentioned, her name is Dni Moreno. We have a bilingual program leader, which helps us with our Latina community. And so our outlook for 2023, we think we'll be able to support more of the Riverhead community. We discovered this year there's a greater need, and we're going to have more of a greater presence there, and in particular helping our Latina constituents. So we're very grateful for the award, and as I talked about the trauma-informed training and coaching, I should mention we had engaged a Chicago-based professional services firm called the Center for Healing and Justice Through Sports, and they advise other organizations similar to ours with how to train youth and infuse through sports care for trauma-informed care, and incorporate that into your curriculum. And I guess, what I'll say is, as Zanti, one of our iTry participants, says, my light is bright when I succeed at something I never thought I could do. So thank you very much, because that's what you are impacting.
I'm running. Oh, yeah, I can swim, bike, I don't know. Hello, everyone. I want to introduce to you Ernesto Hernandez from the LGBT network. Ernesto was born in Mexico City. He got very much involved in the LGBT community almost since arriving in New York in 2005. First, he began participating in HIV prevention groups in New York City. Then he started volunteering as facilitator and as an educational coordinator for those same groups. After moving to Long Island in 2015, Mr. Hernandez started working full-time at the LGBT network. He was responsible for locating individuals living with HIV who were out of care. His innovative efforts allowed him to help many people all over Long Island to have access to services they needed, as well as conducting HIV and STD prevention efforts. Last spring, he was promoted to the position of Director of Programs for the Long Island region at the LGBT network. He now oversees the program to prevent bullying and create safe spaces in schools, promote leadership for youth, and the well-being of LGBT+ older adults. He is a passionate educator and advocate who is committed with the LGBT+ and the Hispanic communities of Long Island. Let's give him a hand.
Well, thank you. Good morning. Thank you, first of all, for your support to our organization. It really, really makes a difference, and I'll let you know how. Well, about the LGBT network, we are a non-for-profit organization. We were founded in 1993. It was a result of our founder, David Kielnick, when he realized that at the time, LGBT kids, and at the time it was gay and lesbian kids, didn't have a place to meet others. At the time, there was a lot more homophobia, and kids had to be in the closet and were not able to be themselves in public spaces. So they were growing up pretty much isolated, and that caused a lot of problems. So he decided to create this program so that kids could come to our center and be themselves, meet others, and grow in a safer and more healthy way. So since our creation, we have been trying to be a home and a voice for the LGBT community. Now, what we try is to pioneer advocacy and social change and create safe spaces for the LGBT community wherever we live, learn, work, play, or pray. We have a community centers on Long Island where we want, and our motto right now is we want people to be themselves, stay healthy, and change the world. How do we do that? First of all, we operate 4 community centers. We have one in Queens, another in Hapag, another one in Bayshore, and another one in Sag Harbor. I will tell you a little more in a minute. In these community centers, we have programs, for example, Be Themselves. We create spaces where youth can come. Actually, that group that was created almost 40 years ago is still running, amazingly. And it's very interesting because now some of our staff are alumni who came to those groups, and they are telling us how great it was when they were there, and they found a place for themselves, and now they are trying to bring that feeling of safety to other kids. So we have support programs. We have programs for LGBT, for trans folks from Long Island. We have support. We have had support groups for people living with HIV. Programs to fight isolation. One of the things that we have found is older adults. Those adults that were in 1969 fighting for gay rights in Stonewall. Now they are older adults, right? And they fought for the rights, they got the rights, and now they are finding themselves in their old age getting back into the closet, because now maybe they grow in an era when there was no marriage equality, and they might not have gotten married, they don't have a partner, or maybe their partner died. Now they're living by themselves on Long Island, where everything is so spread out. Or even worse, they might be going back to retirement homes, where staff is not culturally competent, and they face the same homophobia and the same discrimination that they faced back in the day. So we have groups for them, groups for LGBT folks who speak only Spanish or mostly Spanish, groups for youth, to create leaders, the leaders that are going to fight for the rights of our community in the future. We are trying to create them. We try to people to change the world, so we do a lot of efforts in advocacy. Unfortunately, in the last few months, we have had to step out those efforts, because now we know books are being banned, flags have been taken down, and some of the teachers that show support for our students are facing harassment, are facing discrimination. So it's a world out there that needs our support. We have programs for families. People, we work with the DSS, trying to get the kids that are on the foster system who are LGBTQ to have better lives in their families. We help families to get adoption programs and things like that. We have referrals for needed services and the Safe Schools Initiative, which I will go back in a minute. One of our centers is the East End. We have a center in Sag Harbor at the Old Whalers Church. This center was created out of necessity. In 2013, a kid, David Hernandez, was a student at the local high school, and because of the harassment and discrimination he was facing, he committed suicide, 17 years old. So we created this space because it was needed. It was needed a place where these kids, or kids like David, could be themselves. So we have this center where youth comes and just the same, be themselves, feel safe. We have outings for older adults. We try to be there for the community wherever we can. And the Safe Schools Initiative, and this is where HICO has helped us. Bullying and unsafe environments affect the academic success and mental health of LGBT students in everywhere, right? A 2021 survey found out that schools nationwide are hostile environments for a distressing number of students who experience victimization and discrimination. One of the things that I saw today, and I was very, very impressed here in the church, is you know that words matter, right? And that's what we do. We have trainings, we go to schools to educate students and staff on why it's important to use the correct words. It's just about respect, and we all know that, right? It's just show respect to others and address people in a respectful manner. So, and sometimes it's just that people doesn't know. People has never been around a gay individual or a trans individual, and they don't know, and we fear what we don't know. So we want to be there and educate them and let them know. Being trans, being gay, doesn't matter. We're human. So if you find a gay kid, just be respectful and don't use these words, because if the words matter, if you use these certain specific words, you are going to make this person feel unsafe. So we go there and we educate the staff, and that's how HICO is helping us to provide those sometimes life-saving trainings to our communities, specifically to the communities on the East End. We work with the high schools, with Bridgeport, with Sag Harbor. We try to work with all the school districts in the East End. We have gone to several high schools, and we have provided these trainings, LGBT 101, T 201. We help the schools to create GSA clubs, or gay straight alliances, so that the teachers can provide this safe space for kids, and also the kids can come and meet others like themselves. We provide GSA mixers, and HICO has helped us to do that, and we are really, really, really grateful to you. This shows your support and your care, and we are really thankful. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Martha Maffei, who's sitting right here. And she is the director of SEPA Mujer, which is Services for the Advancement of Women since 2000, and she has been in that job since 2008. She has been recognized on several occasions for her advocacy for the rights of Latina immigrants on Long Island. And I'll let her describe more what she does.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity. I am very grateful to be here today, and I wanted to also bring the message about the award that we received from the grant that we have received from HICO, and the impact of this grant in the programs in the community, in the work that we do every day. So SEPA Mujer stands for Services of the Advance of the Women. We are a Latina immigrant rights organization, and our mission is to empower immigrant women, girls, and their families to become active in their community, to step up against injustice, and to learn to advocate about the rights, because they are human beings like everybody else in this country. We have several programs. The first one that was the program how SEPA Mujer started in 1993 is to provide immigration assistance to survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, hate crimes, human trafficking, stalking, harassment. So through the program, we have been helping over 2,000 immigrant women, their families, and bring together their kids from the countries of origins where they can escaping domestic violence and violence in general. So we reunite their families. So we have our clients that finally can meet their kids again after 20 years, 15 years, when they left their babies there and they come here when they are adolescents, teenagers, or some 20 even years old, because they can still apply for those remedies until they are 21 years old. So, and we also have, through the immigration services, we were very grateful that the government has provided for the legal program, funding to provide representation. According to the funding that we receive, we are available to serve 50 women that are, or girls from the age of 13 and up. But we have a lot of cases that unfortunately, that we have girls or boys from 5 years old to 11. So this gap of services are funding that we have to find from other revenues, because this grant is very specific. So over the last year, we have received about 350 cases, and it is impossible with 2 attorneys to serve this amount of people. So our attorneys that work 40 hours, they additionally volunteer to keep helping more people through these services, because we know that immigration services is very expensive. U-Visa, that is a victims of crime that we provide for our families to zero cost through the grants. There are attorneys outside that charge $5,000 and over, just to mention the lower rate. And not even that, but there are scams, there are a lot of abuse, and people that are notaries, that they take the role as an immigration attorney, and they, do a bad representation for these people. And we also have, in 2019, before COVID started, we launched our Ayuda Latina hotline. It's a 24-hour/7 hotline in Spanish. And initially, this hotline was supposed to be just for victims of crime, but COVID hit, and we all have to rearrange our tasks. And we have provided about 3,000 calls that we received, 3,000 people that need services, not only over Long Island, but the city, Manhattan, Queens, other states, and even other countries that call us, because people know if they call our hotline, we are going to respond in Spanish for them. And they know that it's not going to be a fair, like we will respond to them. We have our case management, which is very challenging, because we just have one case management, but we receive this amount of calls every day, but we try to get resources for them through our case management support. And we have also support groups in which all our programs have incorporated our culture component. As we know, culture, our values, the space that Sepa Mujer provide for immigrant women and the girls and their families in general is very unique, right? So they will walk the door, or they will call, they will find somebody that looks like them, that speak like them, that share our food, that we understand in our culture, and we also know that culture is a healing, right? Can you just, maybe a little exercise that I always do is like, can you imagine if you have to move to Peru, Ecuador, Honduras, and live there just for a month? So you will probably in this month start to miss your food, right? You will start to miss your music, the beautiful spaces that you have here. Maybe you don't have anyone to speak English, and you will have to force. So imagine yourselves in that position. So imagine immigrant women living here, families in general, right? I am here standing up to you, in front of you, after 14 years, 15 years that I arrived in the United States, and 14 for Sepa Mujer. I am a social worker. I live everything in my country. My family, I am alone here. So my Sepa Mujer is my family. And but when I came here, I didn't speak any English, right? And it took 14 years for me to be here in front of you. I feel more comfortable speaking English. So it takes so long. But not only that, but I have a great mentors, a great people that support me, that empower me, and saw in me this potential to do something great here through not only myself, of course, but with all our members in people like you, in organizations like you, that all foundations that always support our cause. So this is why our model is, because we want to empower the immigrant women to have a voice in the community, to represent themselves, that they should be the person who got in the front to talk about their issues. We need representation, right? We need to have more immigrants to feel comfortable, to go to talk about their issues, whatever the language, even if they are still learning the English, but find a way how they participate in the community. So we do a lot of reach in the community. We have 4 chapters in Hampton Bays, Patchogue, Riverhead, in Hampton Bays. And Hampton Bays is a partnership chapter with Centro Corazón de María, and here Sister Mary Beth, that she opens the door of their space, and we became partners, and we are helping many women through our partnership. And we also have our support groups in which we integrate cultural components, like, for example, knitting. Like, knitting is something that in our countries we grow up, is part of our abuelitas, our grandmothers, our mothers teach how to knittle, but at the same time that we are knitting, we are sharing, we are healing, we are learning from other women of the journey. And this group is called Knitting Our Stories, in which we are building a new story. It's a story of where violence don't exist. It's a story in which you have somebody that can hear you and you understand the situations that you're going through. And we have our new program of our Girls Act program, which stands for Activists Creating in Transformative. So I find out like a lot of our youth, new immigrants arrive to the United States, being me, I'm my 30s coming here, I don't speak English at all. It's more difficult for our youth, our teenagers, when they come here, like, they don't want to go to school because they don't speak the language. They have to make new friends. They have to leave their families in their country to come here and to maybe to meet a mom that didn't see for 15 years, and they became strangers, right, after 15 years. Even though we Zoom and WhatsApp and all the online, communications, but it doesn't really is not enough, right? So, but also we have in 5 years ago the murder of 3 Latinas youth by MS-13 gangs. And that was the awakening for me when I said what we are doing with our Latina youth. What we are doing, we have this excellent program for adults, but not for the youth. So now this is our 5th year that we're running our Girls Act program. We have, and it's in partnership with the Suffolk County Department of Labor. So the Suffolk County Department of Labor, they basically pay the youth, and we provide all the training and support. We bring the girls to different college. You know, our parents, they have 2 or 3 jobs, and I don't know how to, my son graduated this year, and if it wasn't for my husband, I don't know how to navigate the college system. It's very complicated. It's not in our countries like that. So we are teaching moms, but all on the parents, but also the youth, like how to apply for a college, right? So this kind of assistance, like how to reply an email, how to create a PowerPoint, like how to do network, because it's our new generations that we are a lot into, you know, interacting by the phone, but not like that face and face. So we teach them like how to do the network, how to reach out to people for help, and etc. So HICO funding is basically an incredible opportunity for us to expand our services and our outreach here out east. So today is actually with me Marcia Estrada. She is the coordinator of the chapters, our 4 chapters. And you know, Marcia is the best example how we can describe our program. She came about 10 years ago asking for services. She got involved, she became a member, she was very active in the community, and now she is, I spent all my time, sorry. I'm sorry, I get always very excited about that, but you know, she's an example of what we wanted to do with our leadership trainings and empower women. I apologize for that. But thank you so much. I appreciate for this opportunity. Sorry.
Okay, 1, 2. Bridgerton. That's why I got the cane. I would like to welcome the Butterfly Effect Project, Tawana Fulford. Tawana, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Yes, Tia. Tia Fulford is the founder and executive director of the Butterfly Effect Project, a mentoring program for young girls from predominantly underserved communities on the east end of Long Island that teaches the practical and psychological tools necessary for stable and successful futures. Tia, who grew up in a disenfranchised community with a severely dyslexic mother and father, dyslexic mother and father with I was almost that, with additional issues, knows firsthand the struggles her mentees face daily. Though a fortuitous mentorship with one woman, Tia gained the necessary skills and confidence to succeed, as well as access to opportunities usually unavailable to girls like her. Tia launched BEP in 2014 to pay it forward, to share her life lessons, increase access to opportunity, and to empower young women by eliminating obstacles. Tia is not only the founder and executive director of the Butterfly Effect Project, but a master life coach and an author. Tia is married to Troy Fulford, and they have 3 children. And I am not going to pronounce any of the children. You can do that for me. But Tia, please give a hand to Tia Fulford.
Thank you. First, I'm going to start by saying sorry I'm late. Sunday I do attend church, and I go to a Baptist church, so you know. And right. And then, my husband's from Bridgehampton, so when I got the address, I automatically just knew where I was going, and I just seen the word community house, and I wasn't where I was supposed to be. So please charge that to my head and not my heart. The first, I'd like to say thank you to all you guys up here. All of you do wonderful work. I follow you. I think that your work is life-changing, impactful, and I'm super confident that the generation after us are going to be better off because of people like you. So thank you. All right. So I'm not going to go over time. All right, so the Butterfly Effect Project was started in 2014 by myself. And I started the program after doing what most women do. We try to give our children everything that we did not have. For me, I didn't have a stable home. I didn't have stability. But I did have a mentor who was phenomenal. And my mentor was super important, not because she was so phenomenal, but because she did not look like me at all. She was an old white lady who I thought I could not trust. And she showed me time and time again what trust, commitment, love, and opportunity looks like. So my daughter at the time was 6, joined another organization, and I did everything I could do to make sure that she did not miss an opportunity as I did. What I realized that in me trying so hard to give her everything that I did not have, I didn't give her any of the tools that Miss Wells had given me. I didn't give her grace, I didn't give her mercy, I didn't give her kindness, I didn't give her respect. I just gave her entitlement, and I gave her the I'm better than you attitude. Upon realizing the mistakes that I made, I went to her leader and explained to her that she didn't earn certain badges. And I was told that it was okay because I had paid for them already. That hurt. It hurt because I realized that my mother did not have the same money to pay for me to have badges. And because she couldn't afford for me to have badges, I didn't get those awards. And because I didn't get those awards, I thought that I was inferior to all the girls. And because I thought I was inferior, I tend to shy away from going to birthday parties or going anywhere or joining any clubs in school because I knew that they were better than me. I knew that I was not friendly. And it wasn't that I was not friendly, but when you are pushed down so much, you build up this shell to protect yourself. So I decided that if I was the mean black girl, I wouldn't be the poor black girl, I wouldn't be the dirty black girl. And that changed my life. When I went to Miss Wells at the time, she had to have been 85-ish, and I told her the situation, and in a fashion only that she can do, she told me to do something about it. And I'm thinking to myself, here I am struggling, with 3 kids. I'm husband, yes, but we're still struggling. How can I do anything? And she said, I'm going to give you $200, and you're going to come back to me in 2 weeks with an idea, and let's get this show on the road. And that's exactly what happened. I worked my tail off to make sure that no other girl would feel like I felt, and I would not singly produce any child to inflict that feeling on anyone else. That was in 2014 when we started with 8 kids. Now in 2022, we have 603 girls, 17 boys. Our programs range from Bellport all the way into, I guess I would say Riverside, but we're in West Hampton, we're in Uncochug Nation, which is Poospatuck Reservation. We have children coming from East Hampton, Bridgehampton. These children, parents drive them from East Hampton all the way to Riverhead at nighttime, just so they can be a part of this program. One of my biggest prizes about this program is we're not like programs where we go inside the school and your child is signed up. Although we have 11 school chapters, we want the girls to choose us. I don't want them to think they need us, because they don't need us. We need them. I need them to see how incredible, gifted, talented, phenomenal they are. So when we go open up a chapter, we don't go anywhere where we want to be. We go where we're asked to be. We go where we're invited. And I believe that because we have that motto, we're not looking for girls. Instead, girls are looking for us. Our program operates under 4 pillars: environmental, arts, social justice, and career preparedness. Everything that we do falls in line with those things. From our college tours, from our college readiness programs, our job readiness programs. We are fortunate to take 15 kids on a 3-night tour to HBCUs. These kids are the same kids who told me they weren't going to college. To come back and have children tell me that they haven't taken the SAT, that, all of a sudden they want to go to college. What's a FAFSA? It was life-changing for me, but I'm sure it was life-changing for them. To have then the very next week to partner with Bonnie Cannon to have her send another, just our seniors, to a 10-night tour. God bless Bonnie Cannon. And they was going to these schools. The worlds are opening bigger and better every day for these girls, and they're doing it because they have people like you, people like me, donors, believers, ground shakers all around. What brings me here today is for our program called BAG, which falls under our justice program. BAG stands for Butterfly Action Group. BAG was founded in 2020. A lot of people, when they think of the pandemic, they think of COVID. But for some people that look like me, we know that it was multiple pandemics happening at one time. There was a food insecurity pandemic. There was COVID pandemic. There also was a racial injustice pandemic. And there was no place to talk about it because we couldn't talk about it. Everyone was so upset. Everyone was so impassioned that the people that need us the most fell on deaf ears, or they didn't say anything. At the time, my head JV, Azaria Allen, went to school, and she had a complaint. And she was devastated by the use of the N-word being used. And I always remind children that I agree with you, there are power in the word. But I charge my butterflies, and now dragonflies, with understanding that we have to take the word back. We cannot let one word take us off course. We cannot let one word change our life, change our day, or even change a moment in the day. We have to know who we are, and if you know who you are, no one will tell you differently. They cannot. So when BAG was created, we wanted to create a safe space for our girls and guys and teachers to kind of understand what that looked like. How did George Floyd make you feel? How do we change that? We can all come together and agree to disagree. Or we can do the hard work that we need to do to have these hard conversations. And who better have them than kids? They didn't grow up like us. They didn't grow up closed-minded. They didn't grow up having table conversations. They grew up to just say it and to just speak it. BAG was formed so that the kids in our communities can have these safe conversations to educate each other, not just on the word diversity, which most of us are closed-minded and believe it's black and white. But what is diversity? It's black, white, LGBTQ, Latina, disabled. It's so many things. And we want to make sure that when we have these conversations that everyone is a part. With the funding that HICO has given us, we're expanding our BAG program to every school that we're in. Right now, we are in South Hold, Mattituck, Cinnamon Riches, every elementary school in Riverhead. We're in William Floyd and Longwood. Every school will have a BAG committee in that school. We will meet monthly via Zoom, and the goal is to create a living document of what does diversity look like, a DEI commitment from each school. And then our goal is to get each principal in the room at the end of the year to kind of combine this living document together to set forth to let people know that in Suffolk County, we do have a plan and we do have DEI work. And our most important letter in DEI work is the B, which stands for belonging. Everyone needs to feel safe. Everyone needs to feel heard. Everyone needs to feel like they belong. Not just the white girls, not just the black girls, not just the Latina girls, and not just the LGBT community, not just the differently disabled, but everyone. Our goal is to make sure that we belong. And with your help, and with your continued help, and with what you guys are doing, you are ensuring that everyone out there is belonging. I leave you with this message that I got when I arrived. I have a girl from South Hold who will be taking over the BAG chapter. It's funny because in South Hold, I know there's diversity out there. However, when I go there, they always remind me, well, it's only 3 black kids. Meanwhile, I think they think because I'm black, I only care about black kids. And one of the only black kids out there has had a hard time as she's come from the city. And she's felt very alone. And she's having a hard time fit in. And every time she has a meltdown, they bring her to the office and allow her to sit there until she's comfortable. As a parent, I understand that sometimes we will take advantage. And I said to the school, if we're allowing her to run every time someone hurts her feelings, what are we teaching her? What education is she missing? Because if she's in here listening to you, then she's not getting the education that she needs to thrive. I went to the school and asked for her parents to come join me in a meeting. And in that meeting, we set up a core plan for her where I banned her from going to her guidance office, the nurse's office, or any office she can sit in. she is allowed to step outside for no more than 2 minutes and then go back to classroom. Because all the attention that she's putting on everyone that's focused on them, that means she's not focusing on her. On top of that, I made sure that she went on the 10-day college tour where she told me she was not going to college. When I asked her why she wasn't going to college, she felt that there was no one in her community that made a difference, a real impact, and that college was just a debt. I got this. Literally every time you do something, and I trust you, everything goes well. No amount of words can say how thankful I am for you giving me the opportunity to go on that college tour. It was completely life-changing for me in so many ways and so many factors. Ms. Tia, please don't ever change. I know I'm not your favorite, but you will forever be mine. Kira. Thank you.
I would like to introduce Dr. Carrie Spooner, President and founder of Social Justice Initiative. Kelly's areas of expertise are politics, philosophy, gender studies, and social theory. Her PhD work focused on the effects of trauma on the narrative structure of American literature. She has nearly 20 years of experience in higher education as a faculty member at Stony Brook University and Suffolk County Community College, and is widely published. Additionally, Carrie worked for the Suffolk County Department of Labor assessing employability and creating plans designed to overcome barriers to self-sufficiency. Carrie is elected member of the Brookhaven Town Democratic Committee and vice chair of the Brookhaven Town Progressive Caucus. Carrie lives in the greater Riverhead area with her wife Ann and their 9-year-old son Emerson. Professor Spooner will tell us more about sound justice. Welcome and congratulations, Dr. Spooner.
So good afternoon. I hope not to be too long, but every time I say that, I'm always very long. I'll keep it under 5 hours. I want to first thank the PAC for believing in the work that Sound Justice Initiative does, and also for the wisdom for this congregation to have found and established the award. So what I want to do first is share with you a little about who we are, and then why we do what we do, and then how HICO helped. So Sound Justice Initiative is an organization that teaches liberal arts, college-level liberal arts courses in the jails, in Suffolk County jails, in Yaphank and in Riverhead. We are made up of educators and community leaders. We're addressing, part of the problem that we're trying to address is the inequities in education. We're trying to, in a sense, reverse the school-to-prison pipeline. So, because I'm an academic, I have to give you a little bit of numbers, but I'll say it in such a way that sounds more exciting. So on March 14th of this year, there were 846 people incarcerated in Suffolk County jails. This is a snapshot of one day, so that number fluctuates, of course. Conservative calculation would have it at about 70% of those incarcerated on March 14th as members of racial and ethnic minority populations. Breaking that number down, 46% of those incarcerated on March 14th in Suffolk jails identified as Black or African American. Keep in mind that the Black population of Suffolk County is 8.9%. 43% of those incarcerated identified as Latinx. The county, at least I couldn't find the data that the county might have on poverty rates. I found it elsewhere. In the 2020 American Action Forum report noted that 57% of men were in poverty prior to incarceration. 72% of women were in poverty prior to incarceration. So poverty is also part of this story. Like most counties, Suffolk County, and I can't find it, I've asked, doesn't collect data on the rate of incarceration among the LGBT and gender nonconforming population. Although the LGBTQ plus population is the third most court-impacted population. LGBTQ and gender nonconforming people are 3 times more likely to be incarcerated and 2 times more likely to be arrested compared to straight people. According to the Sentencing Project in 2020, their 2020 study, women drive the higher representation of the LGBTQ people in prisons and in jails. In prisons, it's 33.3% of women. That's 33.3% of women identify as lesbian or bisexual, while gay women make up 7.6% of the general population. And 5.5% of men incarcerated identify as gay. And 6.8% of men identify as gay in the general population. In jails, so we have jails, that was the prison number. What is the difference between a jail and a prison? Jails are short-term, prisons are long-term. Long Island, we don't have prisons, we have jails. We have a jail in Nassau County, we have a couple here in Suffolk County. So for the temporary correctional facilities, 26.4% of women and 3.3% of men identify as lesbian, gay, or bi. And especially notable is in the trans population. 1 in 5 trans women have experienced incarceration at some point in their lives, and have nearly half, 47% of all Black trans people. So in my experience teaching in Suffolk jails, especially among women, I teach both men and women. I have a lot of gay or non-gender conforming students. So what we do is, with the liberal arts courses, we teach anything from philosophy to literature. We teach a course called Dollars and Cents. It's a financial literacy type of course. And then some jobs courses to also help in reentry. Our program has about 3 components in it. So we teach in the jail, and that's what we're doing now, we're teaching in the jail. We also follow our students into reentry. And what we're doing now for that is we're offering for those students who qualify and who want to, we help them get into college, or we help them get into vocational training. So we have our first cohorts already in there this past semester. Another component, those are the first 2. Another that we have not yet, but this is something we're looking to do in the near future, is offer community-based courses. And so those are the 3 ways in which we are trying to reverse the school-to-prison pipeline. Understand that by the time they come to me, or they find themselves in jail, a lot of things have already gone wrong. A lot of institutions have already failed them. And so at our end, and it's a challenge for us, because this is a jail and it's short term, at our end, what we're trying to do is offer something that the prisons often get to have, or more often than jails, are educational programs like this. If you're Columbia University, you can teach an entire semester, right, at Bedford Hills, right, because they're there for a longer time, for multiple years. In the Suffolk County jails, maybe I'll have some students that are there for up to a year, but usually it's only a few months, maybe 6 months. So the trick is to get them excited about learning, and that's partly what we do, is get them excited about learning, and so that hopefully it makes them, or motivates them, to want to continue with education and reentry. But it's not as simple as that. I can't just let them go out the doors and say, I'm done with you, right? It's not going to work. So in order to help, I have to be in reentry with them. And what I've done is help with enrollment, registering for classes, filling out financial aid, finding grants. But it's not over. Whenever they need sound justice, they call. They might need help figuring out how to get a computer, right? How to download something. Could be as basic as that. Or they want me to attend a meeting. Sometimes there are meetings with financial aid officers that they need help understanding. So I sit in the financial aid office with my students and helping them navigate the beast of financial aid without getting a loan. I do not help get loans out. Those student loans are killing me. And what HICO did for our students was create 2 classes taught both at Yaphank and at Riverhead. Well, actually 3. One is called The Hero's Journey, which is now concluded. And that was taught to men both in Yaphank and Riverhead. And the other course was called, and this is world mythology, the other course is the goddesses in world mythology, taught to both women in both Yaphank and in Riverhead. The Riverhead class, though, is dragging this out a little bit too long for me. They don't want to give up on the goddess. I don't blame them. The goddesses are far more interesting. Let me tell you about Lilith. And now we've just started another course that your grant offered, and called Just Think. It's a course I've taught before. I teach it differently every time. I'm surprised at how many people wanted to take a course on the 3 modes of persuasion, but it turns out quite a bit. Too many, more than I have room for. So just, I think they want to make their case in the courtroom. So in Riverhead alone, there were 38 who signed up. And for the mythology course, that was 24 that I taught just in Yaphank among the men and women. And I do have a surprise for you. When I usually teach at this time, I'm usually in the jail teaching right now. So I had to let my students know yesterday that I won't be there, and they really pressed me on this. So I let them know why I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be here with you. And I asked them, is there something you want me to say? They went up, right? And they shared, let them know this. I'm like, okay. And one particular student was very poetic in what she was saying. So another student said, you got to write it down. I got to write it down. So they're writing it down, and I have this here. It's a short note because it was at the very end of class, and they had to leave. There's a time constraint there. And so as she's writing it down, the other students now wanted to take a piece of this, so they had to all have their name on this. So it goes from the I to the us as I read this. Okay, so this is from them to you, and they know you are hearing this, and I begin. When I come to this class, I'm just a student. I'm excited, eager to learn. I love the way I get. I forget I'm an inmate. I forget these walls. For this 1 hour, we become human again. I have a purpose. I love school. I love to learn. And this gives us motivation and desire to have a better future and make us think that there is a second chance. I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Thank you all for sharing what you guys do for the community. It was wonderful. I think we're going to have a few minutes here for questions and answers, so I'll open up in a second. But I just wanted to recognize Bianca Collins is here from the Pataguan Medicine Lodge, and they were a recipient in our first year. And Sister Mary Beth Moore, who was mentioned before, from Centro Corazon de Maria, who was a recipient last year. So thank you for joining us and being part of our day. But